Starting us off at number 10, Ellen DeGeneres. I mean, Ellen really got dragged for the first 4 months of the year. After Nikki tutorials would appear on her show and speak honestly about her time with Ellen, it seems the floodgates would open. Ellen would make a joke about her multi-million-dollar mansion being compared to prison, which would also piss off a lot of people. But when news broke that some of Ellen's employees weren't sure what was going on with the show and their jobs, and then they found out that an outside production company was filming Ellen's show remotely, well, people were really pissed. It seemed to paint a picture that Ellen really isn't the person everyone wanted to believe she was. Then a security guard who had worked for her during the Oscars a few years back dropped even more dirt on how Ellen treats people. But it seems the thing with celebrities really is even after they get exposed, people always seem to forget. And to no surprise, people have already moved on from Ellen. So we should too. Meaning, we're moving on to number 9. At 9, Lana Del Rey. After Lana would post a lengthy Instagram note specifically calling out some of her fellow female artists, majority of whom were black, people called her out for being racist. The post started with, now that Doja Cat, Ariana, Camila, Cardi B, Kalani, and Nicki Minaj and Beyonce have had number ones with songs about being sexy, wearing no clothes, effing, cheating, etc., can I please go back to singing about being embodied, feeling beautiful by being in love even if the relationship is not perfect, or dancing for money, or whatever I want, without being crucified or saying that I'm glamorizing abuse. As someone who has been labeled anti-feminist in the past, Lana isn't one to shy away from the controversy, and she clarified her stance, letting fans and anyone who was watching know that she is definitely not racist. Since the initial post, Lana has posted a few more Instagram notes and made a video, clearing the air for anyone who got it twisted. In the video she said, "I'm sorry that I didn't add 100% Caucasian person into the mix of women that I admire. It really says more about you than it does about me." She wanted to say that after she decided to tell the public anything about her life, she was met with hundreds of thousands of hateful comments and her phone number being leaked. And in the video with, I quote, "I'm not the enemy and I'm definitely not racist, so don't get it twisted. Nobody gets to tell your story except for you. God bless, and yeah, F off if you don't like the post." On to number 8, Dr. Phil. Now for those of you who don't know, Dr. Phil has a PhD in psychology, but he's not a licensed psychologist. Either way, he's made a lot of money playing doctor on TV, when in reality, I just feel any professional would likely handle a lot of the patients Phil sees on a show, like, a little differently. For starters, they wouldn't film their sessions and then put it on TV. You guys can probably see where I'm going with this. So as you can imagine, when he appeared on a segment on Fox trying to give medical advice when the pandemic first started, well, people just weren't having it. While appearing on the Ingram Angle, Phil said, I quote, "The fact of the matter is we have people dying. 45,000 people a year die from automobile accidents. 480,000 people die from cigarettes. 360,000 a year from swimming pools. But we don't shut the country down for that, but yet we're doing it for this? And the fallout is going to last for years because people's lives are being destroyed." Clearly referring to the social distancing implemented to stop the spread of the disease and businesses shutting down due to the lockdown. Now people on Twitter were quick to call Phil out, pretty much telling him he's an idiot and not a real doctor. Ranging from those simply saying he's not a real doctor to people reminding him that car accidents aren't contagious, the Twitter world really let him have it. Even though he does have a PhD, technically he is a doctor, but that doesn't mean we should take his advice. Moving on to number 7, we got Jimmy Fallon. Now it seems the hashtag Jimmy Fallon is over party would trend for less than 24 hours before Fallon would post his apology. If you guys didn't even hear about this one, it seemed to happen fairly quickly, but either way it happened. Back in the year 2000, Fallon was on Saturday Night Live, and while doing an imitation of Chris Rock, he could be seen using blackface. Although it seems this was something that has been brought up in the past, specifically by Nick Cannon for whatever reason, now is when it got enough attention. Back in February of 2019, Cannon shared a video showing both Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon doing blackface early on in their careers. Although neither man commented on it at the time, after the hashtag started trending, Fallon sent out an apology. I quote, "In 2000, while on SNL, I made a terrible decision to do an impersonation of Chris Rock while in blackface. There is no excuse for this. I am very sorry for making this unquestionably offensive decision, and thank all of you for holding me accountable." Although Chris Rock has yet to comment, Jamie Foxx publicly defended Fallon, commenting on an E! News Instagram post regarding the story. Jamie's comment read, "He was doing an impression of Chris Rock. It wasn't blackface. We comedians, I know it's a tough time right now, but this one is a stretch. On a show called In Living Color, we played every race. Let this one go. We got bigger fish to fry. Hashtag change course." Others on Twitter wondered why Robert Downey Jr. wasn't canceled for his role in Tropic Thunder, while others asked why black comedians such as Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle, and Chris Rock can do whiteface. Now on to number 6, Madonna. After testing positive for COVID antibodies, meaning she had it at one point, the Like a Virgin singer would take to Instagram letting her fans know. In a video she shared, Madonna says, "Took a test the other day and I found out that I have the antibodies. So tomorrow, I'm just going to go for a long drive in the car and I'm going to roll down the window and I'm going to breathe in the COVID-19 air. Yep, I hope the sun is shining." This wasn't the problem people had though. It was the fact that she had flown from the UK to New York to celebrate a friend's birthday party. Although the majority of the guests called in through Zoom, Madonna just feels at her level do whatever she wants. I don't really know. People were also pissed that not one person at the party could be seen wearing masks, while others were mad that Madonna would risk traveling, especially with young children at home. And if you're a fan of Madonna, well, don't get mad at me. I'm literally just telling you guys what people are saying. Halfway now at number 5, David Geffen. The man's got a net worth of $7.7 billion, so when he tried to post a relatable photo on Instagram taken by his drone on his $590 million yacht, well, people were pissed. Geffen has since actually deleted his Instagram page altogether, and although I'm sure he meant well, with people losing their lives, businesses having to shut down, and of course, the shortage of medical supplies for doctors, nurses, and health professionals, his post seemed, I was gonna say a little tone deaf, but it's not even like a little. It's the definition of tone deaf. Because putting a little is just putting it extremely lightly. Caption, sunset last night, hope everyone is staying safe, appear to be the words of someone who genuinely cares, and as much as I want to believe he meant well, this just proved how out of touch from reality the man really is. Now on to number 4, we got Vanessa Hudgins.
Even if everybody gets it, like, yeah, people are gonna die. It's just terrible, but like, inevitable?
Taking to Instagram Live after President Trump said the pandemic could go into July or August, Hudgins let her fans know how she was feeling. I quote her saying, "Until July sounds like a bunch of bullshit. It's a virus. I get it, like, I respect it, but at the same time, like, even if everybody gets it, like, yeah, people are gonna die, which is terrible, but like, inevitable? I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be doing this right now." Following the backlash she would immediately receive, Hudgins would jump back on Instagram the next day, saying her comments were taken out of context. Then she posted a note on Twitter via the Notes app that read, "Hey guys, I'm so sorry for the way I have offended anyone and everyone who has seen the clip from my Instagram Live yesterday. I realize my words were insensitive and not at all appropriate for the situation our country and the world are in right now. This has been a huge wake-up call about the significance my words have, now more than ever. I'm sending safe wishes to everyone to stay safe and healthy during this crazy time." To no surprise, this happened in March, and the majority of the people on this list were called out after, so Vanessa's situation is already old news. Like, people probably forgot it even happened by now. On to number 3, we got another TV doctor, the one and only Dr. Oz. Although Oz specializes in thoracic surgery, which focuses on the heart and lungs, Oz isn't a virologist. Meaning, although he knows a lot about the areas of one's body that the virus is known to attack, you probably shouldn't be giving medical advice when it comes to protecting yourself. Now that's not to say the man didn't mean well, but I think Dr. Dave Stukis summed it up best when he retweeted Dr. Oz's coronavirus survival sheet, captioning it, "I'm sorry, at Dr. Oz, I'm confused by your medical advice. How many blackberries should I eat each day to prevent coronavirus? How much elderberry will treat active infection? Should I meditate to prevent or treat active infection? Please ignore all this shameful nonsense." Now this isn't the first time Oz has been called out by the medical community, and I doubt it'll be the last. Now at number 2, Demi Lovato. To no surprise, the hashtag Demi Lovato is over party started trending on Twitter after fans started posting screenshots of what they claimed was Demi's fake Instagram account. Also known as a Finsta account, it's like having a burner account or a secondary account where people don't know it's necessarily you, aside from maybe a few close friends. Some people do this to post embarrassing or funny photos and videos of themselves, while others do it to bash their competition. And Demi got called out when people said she was bashing her old friend Selena Gomez. I mean, I'm not accusing anyone of anything here, guys, but you can see the proof is in the pudding. I like pudding. Demi's team spoke on behalf of the singer, saying that there are several fake and doctored posts online. It's unfortunate that people are finding time to attack others when the world has far bigger issues to focus on at the moment. Yeah, they got a fair point, but... Now finally on to number 1, Doja Cat. Well, this was a wild one. The hashtag Doja Cat is over party started trending after she was accused of being in chat rooms with white supremacists and was also called out for her song Didn't Do Nothing. Following an insane amount of backlash and viral videos, Doja finally spoke out about the situation, explaining, I quote, "I've used public chat rooms to socialize since I was a child. I shouldn't have been on some of those chat room sites, but I personally have never been involved in any racist conversations. I'm sorry to everyone I offended." She wanted to clarify any rumors about the chat rooms on Instagram, saying, "The narrative that it's a white supremacist chat is absolutely 100% incorrect." Speaking on the lyrics to the song in question, Doja explained, "To see a song, my song that I made, connected to an innocent black woman's death is one of the most awful rumors that I've ever encountered." Although she said the song was lyrically lost, she insisted it's in zero ways connected to police brutality or Sandra Bland. And that does it for the top 10 celebrities that got exposed during the pandemic. Let me know your thoughts on this list in the comments down below. I do want to say though, guys, can we just talk about the fact that a lot of these people were called out or canceled with the hashtag, insert name, is over party? Like, why are we celebrating that we're taking people down here? Maybe if they do a really bad thing, sure, But I feel a lot of the people on this list specifically didn't intend to do anything wrong. They say ignorance is bliss, and if people really cared about the problem at hand, we'd focus on educating those who screwed the pooch, not tear them down individually. Starting us off at number 10, we got Leah Michelle. After tweeting her support for the Black Lives Matter movement, and specifically referencing the murder of George Floyd, some former castmates would publicly call the Glee star out. Responding to Michelle's tweet, which read, "George Floyd did not deserve this. This was not an isolated incident and it must end. Hashtag Black Lives Matter." Samantha Ware, another Glee cast member, captioned Michelle's tweet with, "LMAO, remember when you made my first television gig a living hell? Cause I'll never forget it. I believe you told everyone that if you had the opportunity, you would in my wig, amongst other traumatic microaggressions that made me question a career in Hollywood." In response, two other former Glee cast members, Alex Newell and Amber Riley, both seemingly agreed with Ware's stance regarding the situation, although Riley recently said on a podcast, I quote, "I'm not going to say that she's racist. She's also pregnant and I think that everyone needs to chill. Y'all dragged her for a couple of days, but at the same time, in my inbox, there are a lot of black actors and actresses telling me their stories and letting me know they have dealt with the same things on set, being terrorized by the white girls that are the leads of the show." Up next to number 9, Jake Paul. You guys probably heard by now, but if you somehow haven't, Jake was actually charged with criminal trespassing and unlawful assembly after videos surfaced of him being tear gassed by police at a protest and then heading to a mall where people all around him were looting. Well, as you can imagine, it wasn't a good look for the kid. He did make a response video explaining everything that happened, saying he only went to document what was going on, the cops were pretty much blocking every exit when they tried to go home, and that he didn't loot anything. But he also admits just being there was a bad call, and now he's gonna have a court date in July, so I guess we gotta see how this one plays out. Moving on to 8, Joe Exotic. Now technically the reason Joe became a celebrity is because he got exposed for hiring someone to kill Carole Baskin. Either way, technically he still reached celebrity status and was exposed at the same time. I mean, say what you want about the guy, but the fact that Nick Cage is actually confirmed to play Joe in a TV series, well, the man is a certified celeb. And I will say, as much as I want to include Carole on this list as well for allegedly forging the signature of her ex-husband, the late Don Lewis, I felt one Tiger King star was enough for this list. So let's move on to number 7. At number 7, Madison Beer. Beer was recently called out for allegedly staging a photo shoot while protesting at a Black Lives Matter gathering. After an image of Madison holding 2 signs while taking a knee on the roof of a car would go viral, she would immediately face some backlash. Twitter user Grande Corday would post some DMs allegedly between the two, in which Madison claimed the photographer who originally posted the photo, Instagram user JVSH Visions, was just a random person she had never met before. She goes on to explain she just wants to raise awareness and then shared DMs allegedly between her and the photographer. Captioned, "I did not lie, this photographer is spreading unclear information about me. These are our messages. I will not allow anyone to make me protesting day after day into something it is not. I am out here for one reason only. I will not allow it to be spun into something it never was." In the DMs, the photographer claims he told outlets it was staged, but he was being sarcastic. However, it didn't help Madison's case when Josh, the photographer, apparently posted to his story letting fans know more photos of Madison would be coming soon. Now, I'm not saying she definitely staged the photo shoot. This guy's pictures of Jake Paul handing out water and model Jeremy Meeks protesting too. But the fact that there are multiple photos of Beer on different days on his profile, well, I don't know if this was the first time the two interacted is all I'm gonna say. Moving on to number 6, Justin Bieber. Biebs came under fire after he told fans to make a playlist with his single Yummy and just stream it continuously so he could get the #1 spot on the Billboard charts. At the time, he was competing with Roddy Ricch's song, The Box, which would ultimately beat out Biebs. Although Biebs would eventually publicly show his support for Roddy on winning the top spot and getting his first chart topper, there's also a clip of Biebs saying this.
"I'm going back on tour, how about this? I'm not gonna go back on tour unless that song goes number 1.
I'm gonna say he was joking, but I mean the fact that he really wanted his track to reach #1 is kinda wild. He told fans in a now deleted post if they weren't from the US that they should use a VPN to change their IP address to appear as an American and stream his song in hopes of reaching the top spot. Now, I don't know why this was so important to the kid. He's a multi-millionaire, has numerous #1s, and really doesn't even need to continue making music if he doesn't want to. So why are the accolades so important? Maybe it's like a contract thing, a record label, I don't know. Halfway now at 5, Cole Sprouse. There have been tons of rumors regarding the relationship of Sprouse and his fellow Riverdale co-star Lily Reinhart. It's been almost a year of rumors starting back in July of 2019 in which both Cole and Lily have publicly come out pretty much telling people to go fly a kite. That's a polite way of telling someone to go, you know. People know what fly a kite means, right? Regardless, there were rumors that the relationship ended because Cole was actually hooking up with model Kaya Gerber, something both Cole and Lily denied. But when people found out the couple were quarantining by themselves and noticed they removed images of each other on social media, well, the rumors just kept going. Reports believed Cole and Kaya got together in April, and Cole shot that down as well in a story on his Instagram where he pretty much said he's not going to allow people who claim to be fans slander his name and spread false information. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments down below. Now at 4, J.K. Rowling. Quite recently, Rowling tweeted out some thoughts that many labeled as transphobic. Quote an article, she tweeted, "People who menstruate. I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out." Woman? Opinion. Creating a more equal post-COVID-19 world for people who menstruate. She then tweeted, if sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. In a couple of other tweets, she would go on to clarify she respects all trans people, and after receiving backlash and being labeled as anti-trans, released a 3,600-word essay in which she talked about her reasoning for her beliefs. In it, she wrote, I quote, I want trans women to be safe. At the same time, I do not want to make natal girls and women less safe. She would also cite her own previous experiences being a victim of both domestic abuse and sexual assault, saying she doesn't want sympathy but more so is trying to get her point across. And it seems her point being, at least from my understanding, is that biological sex is different than gender. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I had a hard time deciphering her tweets in the first place, but that's what I got from it. Let me know your thoughts on this one below as well. Since tweeting, a handful of actors who've worked with Rowling in the past, such as Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Eddie Redmayne, would all speak up, disagreeing with the writer's stance. Moving on to number 3, David Dobrik. One of Dobrik's old Vlog Squad mates, Seth Francois, posted a good 9-minute video on Instagram, more or less depicting how over the years, Dobrik and the Vlog Squad have seemingly played into the systemic racism that is currently being protested. Now, I will say he did reply to a comment asking if he's mad at Jason or David, to which he said, I quote, I am not mad or upset with anyone. I just think our group has too big of a voice to not speak on something we contributed to. The internet will influence generations to come. We play a vital role in the history of all of this. Many content creators make jokes that don't favor our culture. It's time to bring all of this to light, make a stand, and make a change. Over the course of the video, Seth shows a handful of instances where Dobrik and the crew are laughing and joking about things, such as Seth having a warrant out for his arrest for overdue parking tickets. There are also other clips where Seth is used as the punchline of a joke, either in a verbal or physical way. Although he received mixed reaction in the comments, it really seems Seth just wanted those with a voice to be held accountable and to start being a better example for younger generations. At 2, Kylie Jenner. Although she may not necessarily be on this list for reasons the majority of other people are, she still got exposed. As many of you know, just last year Kylie was named the world's youngest self-made billionaire by Forbes magazine. Now, considering how she's the furthest thing from self-made, considering her family was famous before the thought of her existence even came into question, is besides the point. Forbes did some digging of their own and found out that Jenners lied. I quote, Kylie's business is significantly smaller and less profitable than the family has spent years leading the cosmetics industry and media outlets, including Forbes, to believe. Forbes now thinks that Kylie Jenner, even after pocketing an estimated $340 million, it was sold for $509 million, but after taxes from the sale, is not a billionaire. They went as far as claiming that she had accountants possibly forged some tax returns, but could not confirm. Jenner replied on Twitter with, what am I even waking up to? I thought this was a reputable site. All I see are a number of inaccurate statements and unproven assumptions, lol. I've never asked for any title or tried to lie my way there ever, period. In another tweet she wrote, I quote, even creating tax returns that were likely forged, that's your proof? So you just thought they were forged. Like, actually, what am I reading? If she did forge her tax returns, it is possible Kylie faces some jail time, but it seems that is not the case. In at number 1, Big Ed from 90 Day Fiance. Although it seems Ed also rose to celebrity status during the pandemic, much like Joe Exotic, it wouldn't be long before the spotlight would come back to bite him. It seems the side of Ed that we saw was simply an act, and he never really cared about Rose to begin with. At least that's what she believes. She explained, I quote, he wants to be famous. He does not love me. He does not care about me. He always embarrasses me and I always be quiet. I want to say I feel hurt for now. Please don't believe Ed. It's not always true what he said. Thank you. I mean, the way that Ed has handled the fame and really is feeding into it, I wouldn't be all that surprised if this is the case.
In at number 5, we have Kylie Jenner. In August of 2020, Kylie Jenner was called out when she flaunted a trip to Paris on her Instagram, while the rest of the world was locked inside, leading everyone to accuse her of being above the law. The backlash started when Kylie started posting pictures of her and her friends around Paris. At first, people thought the pictures might be throwbacks, but when she started posting on her story too, it was obvious she was traveling. Many people were wondering how she could travel because at that time, many countries were banning Americans from entering their nations, France being one of them. After all the outrage, it was revealed that Kylie was allowed in the country for a business exemption trip, with a source telling E! News that Kylie had meetings with cosmetics company Coty that week, and had even spoken to the company's CEO, Peter Harf, about a business opportunity. But with all the pictures she took with friends, it looked like she was lounging around for most of the trip, but of course, we really can't expect her to take pictures of her meetings either, right? The insider claimed further that Kylie was going for business reasons and brought friends to make a trip out of it. The US Embassy website confirms that the French government only allows Americans to visit the country at the moment on, quote, rare occasions. And of course, a public trip like this is gonna create a lot of outrage on Twitter, with one user tweeting out after, quote, Kylie Jenner going to Paris during COVID while the rest of the world can't travel or visit family in other countries / states due to border restrictions just doesn't sit right with me. Then another more bluntly said, quote, can someone explain why Miss Kylie Jenner is allowed to travel to Paris in the middle of a pandemic while the borders are closed? Meanwhile, I'm dating a guy who lives in Australia and I can't see him until July of 2021 at the earliest. Eat the rich and leave no crumbs, I'm tired. Next up at number 4, the Dimelio family. The Dimelio sisters, along with some of their other TikTok friends, decided to take a vacation to the Bahamas for New Year's Eve. According to the TikTok Room's Instagram account, Charlie and Dixie were with Noah Beck, Chase Hudson, Maddie Moore, Avani Gregg, Anthony Reeves, and photographer Bryant. After the group started to get heat from the posts, the Dimelios and Greg stopped posting online, but some of the other members of their crew didn't seem to care and still posted anyways. From all the posting, we could see that the group was vacationing at the Atlantis Hotel in Nassau, Bahamas, where people could not enter without a negative COVID-19 test, according to Atlantis' website. And even though fans were mad at everyone in the group, most of the hate went towards Charlie, because only a few days before her trip, she was actually on Instagram Live lecturing people on why they should be social distancing, saying in that live, quote, if you're using this time to hang out with your friends since you don't have school, please, I'm asking you, please stop being so inconsiderate to others. You may think this isn't going to affect me or it isn't that bad, but you are putting other people at the risk to get hurt and be in pain, which is obviously extremely hypocritical. And when Charlie got back from vacation, it was clear in her new TikToks that she had an obvious tan that she was not addressing. And in her recent TikToks, the comments of the post were basically just roasting her for not addressing the scandal and trying to hide her tan. And it's one thing to quietly travel during a pandemic, but it's totally another to go on live days before, lecture your followers about traveling, and then literally do that exact thing days later, and then still post it. Like, just wild to me. And at number 3, the Ace family. The Ace family got tons of backlash after they revealed that they are moving to Mexico in the middle of the pandemic, leaving LA to move to a whole different country. And the video they posted to announce it made things even worse, as it was abundantly clear that the family had an insane amount of privilege to do such a thing. First, they flew their immediate family along with some other family members on a private jet, and while on the jet, they were eating lavish snacks and meals. Then the rest of the video was them showing off their huge Mexican mansion, how close they were to the water, and them dancing and drinking. And of course, the reaction to that video was awful, so the family ended up disabling comments on that video, and it has 5,000 dislikes as of now. But the family clearly didn't care about the negative attention from the video, as they posted another Mexican vlog a few days later. And Twitter account Def Noodles captured some of the negative comments before comments were removed off the video, and it was pretty much just flooded with people calling out the family for their travels and reminding them how we are in a pandemic and telling them how irresponsible they are being. And I honestly doubt they will address the scandal, as it's not even close to as bad as some of the other scandals they have been in and didn't address. They'll probably just stay in Mexico until the whole pandemic is over, honestly, and just hope that everyone forgot when they come back. And at number 2, James Charles. James Charles was called out in October of 2020 for traveling to Hawaii from his home in LA, and according to the government, Americans are able to travel there, but only for work or if it's urgent in some way. Also, the Hawaiian government stated that there is a mandatory 2-week quarantine period for all travelers entering the state, and that was only lifted if the traveler tested negative before entering. James also flaunted the trip on social media, posting to Instagram and TikTok. But James was hounded in the comments for the trip, with people calling him out for the unnecessary trip. A Hawaii resident even made a TikTok calling James out, with him writing in that video, quote, so anyone want to give me a good excuse as to why James Charles is here during a pandemic on an island with only 24 critical care ICU beds? That TikTok is now deleted, but it made James respond to the backlash. One user asked James on Twitter, quote, did you get your negative test result before coming on the plane during the pandemic, or are you just going to endanger the people of Hawaii too? And James responded back, quote, yeah, before the plane and after landing too, then showing a negative COVID test. But this was not James's only feud related to travel. He also got into it with OG YouTuber Gen X Pen, who made a subtweet to all the YouTubers traveling, with Jen saying in her tweet that the YouTubers who are collabing with others should feel so much guilt for doing so and that they're boring. Since James thought Jen was referring to him, James clapped back with a simple, "Dis you?" including a screenshot of a video from a month ago where Jen was collabing with other YouTubers, making her seem pretty hypocritical, with James adding that he is not innocent, but that she shouldn't have called out other YouTubers when she's done the exact same thing. James ended up deleting the tweets because he claims he didn't want to fight, but Jen ended up responding later that she did do 1 collab, while James had done 5 in just the month of December. And finally at number 1, Kim Kardashian. Kim K and her family were at the center of a ton of backlash in October of 2020 when Kim flew 50 people out to a private island in Tahiti to celebrate her 40th birthday party without the fear of coronavirus. In the post, she wrote, quote, "After 2 weeks of multiple health screenings and asking everyone to quarantine, I surprised my closest inner circle with a trip to a private island where we could pretend things were normal for just a brief moment in time." After the scandal blew up, sources said that Kim wasn't too bothered by all the backlash, with that source saying, quote, "She sees celebs have a birthday party on a beach in Malibu and it's fine, but because she has the means to safely transport her family, she's torn down for it. The party was amazing. It was just family and Kim's closest friends. Really just her core group." Khloe, who had COVID in the beginning of the pandemic, also supported Kim on the Ellen show, saying, quote, "This year is a frustrating year, I get it. I think there's so many frustrations going on for everybody, but also it's her 40th and this is something that she really wanted to do. For us, it was such a nice thing." Kim even apparently spent $1 million in total on the trip, and she stayed at the Brando Resort, Marlon Brando's private island, which is known as one of the finest eco-friendly resorts in the world. Some of the negative comments on her post read things like, quote, "Nobody in this family could read a room if their life depended on it," with another adding, quote, "LMAO, reading this as half of my office got laid off today." But I did also see a lot of people saying that they would have done the exact same thing if they had the money to do so.
Nikita Dragon is just one of many influencers who have come under scrutiny after jet setting to another state, all for the sake of a good party. Given that the pandemic isn't showing signs of slowing down anytime soon, even with the vaccines now readily available, it seems some of these influencers just don't practice what they preach. Over the months, we've seen countless influencers, celebrities, and entertainers in general take to their social media platforms, encouraging people to keep socially distanced and to wear a mask in hopes of preventing the ongoing spread of COVID-19. And to no surprise, a lot of them have also been seen maskless, partying with friends, or traveling to other states or even countries where restrictions are a little more lax. And considering how most of these influencers are LA based, well, although the country of the United States isn't necessarily under a countrywide lockdown, it seems the state of California certainly is, which has led to said influencers to travel to other places where the rules aren't so strict. Alright, so as previously mentioned, numerous influencers have come under fire for traveling during the pandemic, especially the ones telling all their followers to stay home, stay safe, and not really interact with anyone outside of their household. More specifically, TikTok sisters Dixie and Charli D'Amelio were seen in the Bahamas, and although they've been trying to keep the trip low pro, when you're as big of a celebrity as these two, well, that's not happening. Obviously, some fans saw them and snapped pics, while also grabbing photos of some other TikTok stars who appeared to have gone on vacation with the Dimelios. This includes Noah Beck and Chase Hudson, as well as Maddie Monroe, who posted a photo of herself maskless on a private jet headed to the islands. Photographer Bryant, who is known for snapping pretty much every and any picture of the influencers you see on their page, also posted videos of himself alongside Anthony Reeves and Avani Gregg in the Bahamas. And there were reports that Nikita Dragon was also with the TikTok stars, however it appears she was in Miami, Florida, instead to celebrate her New Year's Eve. And it doesn't matter if you're escaping to another country or another state to party, when your state, in this case California, is under strict lockdown and stay-at-home orders. Given that California is seeing another spike of cases with a record-breaking 74,000 confirmed cases in just one day being reported, well, these influencers traveling isn't a good look. Dragon specifically was seen in an elevator, not wearing a mask, trying to cover her face with her hand, while saying, "Everyone's gonna yell at me because I'm not wearing a mask." The video was posted to TikTok by a fan of Dragon's who was seen walking into the elevator with her friend Dorothy Wang. Clearly they weren't trying to expose Nikita as much as they were just excited that she was walking into the elevator with them. In just 3 days, the video has just over 200,000 views, and people obviously just had to call Nikita out in the comments. That being said, she's not the only one who was seen partying in Miami, as Jake Paul and Tana Mojo were also seen out and about. However, unlike some of these TikTok stars who have been trying to hide their partying ways, it seems the YouTubers are proudly flaunting it, posting photos and videos to Instagram. In fact, Nikita has been living it up, as have a handful of other influencers, attending maskless parties on a regular basis, one that Nikita actually hosted, clearly not caring much about the situation at hand. Actually, I think she had 2 parties, at least. So there's that. On the flip side, going back to Charli, who was seen in the Bahamas, well, 2 days prior to her trip, she was on Instagram Live explaining, I quote, "If you're using this time to hang out with your friends since you don't have school, please, I'm asking you, please stop being so inconsiderate to others. You may think this isn't going to affect me or it isn't that bad. you are putting other people at risk to get hurt and to be in pain. Now, if you guys are fans of the channel, you likely know that normally I'm one to defend Charlie, saying she's just a 16-year-old kid, so who cares? But I mean, to tell people not to see their friends, but then go on a vacation to another country with yours, it just seems so wrong. Then again, here in Canada, we got government officials, including health officials, telling us not to travel and then getting caught in the Caribbean. So maybe Charlie getting caught ain't so bad after all, folks. Nikita hasn't addressed the maskless elevator situation on TikTok as of this recording, and I doubt she really will, as, I mean, really, what's there to say? You're sorry for not wearing a mask? I mean, as much as people want to get mad at her, there's not really much you can say or do. People feel the way they do about the situation, and although yes, I understand given her platform, people would want her to use it to spread good or positive influence, but I mean really, if you're willing to listen or do what a beauty influencer does and not listen to the professional scientists who actually understand everything that's causing the situation at hand, I mean, you gotta do some soul searching. And that's not even a chirp to Nikita, more so saying, get your information from trusted sources. I'm sure a doctor knows a lot more about COVID than I do. Obviously, we both know to wear a mask, but if I said not to wear one and the doc did, I certainly hope you guys would take the doc's advice over mine.
It's only been a couple of weeks since restaurants have started to open up in New Zealand. Yet a restaurant order in Auckland, New Zealand has come forward to say that influencers are already asking him for free food. So before I get into this video, I wanted to ask you guys, are you guys small business owners? Do you know someone who's a small business owner? Why don't you tell us about a small business you support down below in the comments, and like share the socials, share the links, share what the business is about and how they've been getting through this pandemic. Maybe we can generate some free promotion for these businesses. Let's lend a helping hand. Now let's get into this influencer shaming rant, shall we? Life is slowly starting to return back to normal. We've got a long way to go, but seeing how other countries have started to slowly open up, it gives me hope. But unfortunately, the return of normal life also means the return of a few things. Number one, the return of boys. Number two, the return of smelly public transit trips. And number three, the return of entitled influencers asking for free stuff. Brian Campbell owns Mayan, which is a pastry shop and dessert restaurant in Auckland, New Zealand. Like almost every restaurant in the world right now, he was forced to close his doors because of the lockdown. That means an insane amount of losses for small businesses. They all have to pay rent for their locations. Some of them still have to pay their staff, but they aren't getting any customers. And if they are, it's a fraction of what they normally get. I think it goes without saying that I think no one is in the position to be giving you free stuff right now, unless they're the ones that offer it. Brian Campbell updated his restaurant's website on the week of April 20th to let customers know he was open for business again, but for online orders only. He claims he almost immediately received requests from social media influencers asking to collab, which in social media influencer language means give me free shit and I might post about it on my Instagram. Brian says that he received more than 6 requests in a single day. He got so many messages that he posted this to Instagram, and I will be reading the whole thing for you because it is important. Dear influencer, before you send that email asking us to collab with you in return for free products to post on your social pages, please stop for a second and think. Think about the restaurant's food producers that have had zero income for a month, the possibility of a 50% drop in revenue for the next few months. Think about the people whom you are asking for stuff for free from to boost your own profile. We are all trying to sustain our businesses through rocky waters. It is time for you to bring value to your local businesses and go order some food from your favorite places. Pay for it, post it, feel good about it. You just helped a small business. Say it louder for the people in the back. Thankfully, Brian's post got a ton of responses, and it seems that it's done its job, hopefully, for now. Unfortunately, it's unlikely that Brian's restaurant is the only restaurant that's experiencing this. Come here. Let's have a pep talk, guys. Come here. Too close. Restaurants and businesses that require person-to-person contact are suffering the most right now. Stop asking them for free stuff. If you like those businesses, you should be helping them and not asking for anything in return. You should be posting about restaurants and small businesses you like. They are the ones that need the free promotion right now. And if we don't help them, they will go out of business. And the streets will be a much less vibrant and wonderful place to go and walk because there's going to be nothing left.